Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to my daily war journal. Um, Today is November 17th. I mean, it's already 1:30 a.m., so it's November 17th here, where
hmm
my cousin Gilat was here with me today. She is in America, in New York. So over there, it's still November 16th.
Yes, it
You
is.
guys still have a chance to make November 16th a better day. For us,
Yeah.
that's already far gone.
November 16th is history, you're saying.
That's right.
hmm
It will never be again. Yeah. So Gilat and I are like, we're the oldest cousins in my father's side of the family, and always we're very close because we're very close in age. And I wanted to talk to her about what it's like being in New York these days. In the course of this daily log, I've spoken to to a person from Spain, a friend of mine who lives in Austin, um, and it's time to also talk to people in New York, the biggest Jewish center other than Israel in the
Yeah.
world.
hmm
Um, yeah, so Gilad, maybe you want to like introduce yourself briefly and where you live or whatever information you want to share with people so they can understand, what you're
hmm
going, what's going on in your life.
Yeah, so my name is Gilat Dweck. I am married. I have 4 kids. I'm Alicia's cousin, his favorite cousin, just, for the record. I live in New York. We've been living in New York for the past 21 years. And now we live in Long Island. Out of that 21 years, about 10 years. So we live in Long Island, New York, and I'm a kindergarten teacher.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't know
yeah,
that's what you do nowadays. Yeah.
yeah, for 7 years now. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Um,
You
yeah,
used to do also to you do you used to also do all sorts of things on the side also, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
jewelry
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah, 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 yeah. There were a lot of things on the side. They were great, but now I'm a full-time teacher.
Hmm.
Um, and that really is very time consuming and it takes over everything. But it's great. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also have we were just talking before we started recording that you have a bunch of brothers that are currently in the army, right?
Yes.
Doing different kinds of service.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can give before we talk about what's been happening in America, just in terms of your, um, what is it like being a former? 'Cause, I mean, I know that in your heart you're always Israeli, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but as a person who was born in Israel and seeing all this from afar,
Yeah.
even before we get to the local things you're going through, how has that been sort of the past month and 10 days?
So it's always hard to be away from home when these things are happening, obviously. Every time there is anything, I mean, any war, any terror attack, it's always very, very hard. It's like you get this feeling like you want to be there. And people look at you and they think you're crazy. You want to be there? There's a war. You want to be there? Like, things are happening. Yeah, you want to be there. You need to be close, you
Yeah,
know.
Gilad, just I'll pause you for 1 second. I
Yeah.
think you're moving your phone or you're moving the screen as you're
Mm,
talking. If you can keep the
Yeah.
phone in one place, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
No problem. Um anyway, yeah. So it's very hard to be away when these things are happening. And this obviously this particular situation that we're going through now is very difficult. When things started coming out, it was still Chag here. It was a holiday, the
right.
second day. Um but my what happened was my phone, started buzzing. My Ever since Tsukeitan, which was in 2014.
Yeah.
I don't shut my phone off completely. It's something psychological. I don't know what it is, but
Sure.
it's in my night table drawer, and it's on vibrate, and it nothing, and nothing. I don't do anything with it, but I need it to be on, uh, for whatever reason. I just need to
Hmm.
know what's
I
happening.
understand. Of course. Of course.
Um, and it was 11:30 at night, and my phone, and I was sitting in my room, and I was talking to my oldest daughter, Javi. Um, it was a few days before her wedding, And we were sitting and talking on Friday night, and my phone started buzzing nonstop. It was buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. And I looked at her and I said, something is going on. It's Seva Adom. It's probably missiles. And I opened up my night table drawer, and there it was, one after the other. And I said to okay, it's 6:30 in the morning, typical, yeah, Shabbat. It's so typical. It's like, yeah,
Classic Hamas harassment.
classic. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And it just kept going and going and going around 1:30 in the morning. So, figure 2 hours later, I went downstairs because my daughter went to sleep. Javi went to sleep, and I said, okay, let me go check on my other son, who we flew in for the wedding because he is. My daughter's getting married. Javi's getting married October 17th. We flew Eliyahu in, who is 20 and he's joining the army. On the 2nd, we said, okay, come in for Chol HaMoed. Thank God we did that. But he, he came in on the 2nd, and I went downstairs to him. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I said, I just had this uneasy feeling. I felt really, it didn't feel like the normal. It's sad that that's the normal, but it didn't feel like, the normal situation that we usually have. And I went to him, and he was a little awake, and I said, Eliyahu, I don't know why. I just feel like I need to, hang out with you a little bit. It feels really weird. Something is going on. And yeah, and then I went back upstairs, and I opened up the drawer again, and I looked inside, and all I saw was a little thing of Ynet that said, "Mechablim chamushim mistovevim besderot." There are armed, terrorists driving around in Sderot, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this can't be. This cannot be. And okay, betach is a chamisha mechablim. Like, okay, it can't be more than 5, 6, 7. We'll get rid of them. No worries.
Right.
6:30 in the morning, our time. Eliyahu, comes upstairs. My son comes upstairs crying, and he says, "I'm sorry. I know this I shouldn't be doing this, but he's in a Chayal Boded house in the Gush."
In other words, he's because he's in Israel without his. Yeah, he's a lone soldier. He's in Israel without, even though you have family in Israel, but he's not without his core family.
No, he's not living in their house.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
So he has an adoptive family.
Yeah, right. And it's a home. No, but it's also a big house. They have a big house where a bunch of lone soldiers live in. They all have their own room. Yeah. So he comes upstairs. He's crying at 6:30 in the morning. He's like, "I'm sorry. I got a message. One of my friends in the house, his unit is in Gaza. He's in, Unit 51 in Golani, Gdud 51, and he's missing. Something really bad is going on." And I said, don't worry, okay, we'll daven, it's Chag, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's how it started. And then slowly people couldn't stay in shul. People were it was Simchat Torah by us. And people just couldn't stay in shul. People were standing on the side and they couldn't dance. They just couldn't dance because things were coming in, and it was more horrific that you can ever imagine. It's more.
What did you guys like? What? There was a lot of confusion in the first 2 days for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What was the picture that you guys were getting?
So there were a lot of terrorists that were all over a lot of different places in Israel. In the south, but also Sderot and Ofakim and all these kibbutzim, like 14. And then we heard in Be'eri there were hostages in like the lunchroom, the cafeteria, whatever, the cheder ochel, and people in homes, and it's just things were coming out, and also people and they already started talking about people being kidnapped.
Right.
So things were coming in that people, were kidnapped into Gaza. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, what? I mean, what's going on? It was very hard to wrap your head around it because it's something that has never happened before. And then I just sat there and I was in disbelief that something, and I didn't even know the magnitude yet. Meaning we didn't know
Nobody
that there
did.
were thousands. People were saying, yeah, about 300 terrorists. It ended up being
Yeah. It
thousands of
was like
terrorists.
2,000 at
Yeah,
least. It was like at
at
least
least,
2,000.
at least. And then what happened was, because Eliyahu basically made Aliyah, he only holds one day. I told him, I looked at
Mm.
him and I said, you, the second this gets out, your chag gets out, you're sending messages to everyone. And I want you to, and this is something that I have never done before. I said, I want you to go on to Ynet and I want you to show me your phone. I
Yeah.
need to see your phone. I've never done that before,
Right.
ever. אבל זה היה מין מצוקה כזאת. It was like this feeling of helplessness, like you
Yeah.
just don't know. And I said, and he says, he looks at me and he says, you're sure? I said, I'm sure. I want to go downstairs with you because I don't want the kids. Obviously, I don't want the kids. I don't want anybody to know. It's between me and you. Chag is out for you. I want you to go on and I want to see what's going on. And I want you to message everybody. I want you
Yeah.
to message every single one of them, all my siblings, like your
For sure.
aunt, your uncles. And then he saw that Dikla sent him a message where she was just
Because your sister.
hysterical. My sister,
Yeah.
yeah, my sister, who works in the blood bank in Jerusalem in Mada, and she was basically called on Saturday around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They were called and they went to pick up all the people that work in the blood bank. And they saw, and people that were coming out of shul, they were saying, what's going on? People the police came and told us to go home. And she said, listen to me. She told them, she said, listen, something huge is happening. Something very bad is happening. You need to go into your homes and just stay there. And
She
she
was
said,
telling that to you,
no, she was saying it to people. She
to
went
the
to
people
pick up a
around.
coworker.
Sorry.
She went to
I
pick up a
understand.
coworker who lives in a very, very religious community in
Yeah.
Yerushalayim, in
Right.
Jerusalem, and she went to
I
pick her up.
understand. She was telling them
And
because they
these
wouldn't have
people,
found out. They wouldn't have had any kind
they
of
had no
contact.
idea. They were very,
Right.
very,
Yeah.
very
People,
religious. And
people like people like me, like, we have, like, non-religious
right,
neighbors, etc. So
exactly,
some rumors go
right,
around, but when
yeah.
you live in a
So what?
completely isolated neighborhood, you might not
Right.
know anything.
So what happened? So what happened there? And she said, Gilat, 2 hours later, those same people that were coming out of shul that I told them what's going on, they came to Mada to donate blood on Shabbat.
Wow.
She said it was incredible. Like you just saw thousands of people just lining up, just, on Shabbat, like to come and donate blood. Another thing here, we got a lot of information because a lot of our members in our community are Hatzalah members. A lot of people in the community we have law enforcement here, we have firefighters, they all got all this information, and people were coming to shul and just sharing all this stuff, all the
Right.
information. That is how we knew so much. But I couldn't, it only lit even today, like when I watch, I watch these documentaries about, what went down that day.
Yeah.
It's still unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of pieces that we know.
Yes.
There are, there's of course areas which only a deeper investigation will yield. But I think that by now, there's whatever there, it demands its own. Like,
Yeah.
even for me to say all the things that I've heard or read by now would take like another, like, 20 minutes. So I don't want to waste
Right.
time on that. But yeah,
Right.
but I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Um, you asked how it is to live here during
Yeah.
these.
So just one more. So, like,
Yeah.
and so since then, right? That was
Mhm.
like the first few days. I think for
Yeah.
everybody, there was so much uncertainty. We didn't know if
Right.
we had a southern border. We
Right.
didn't know if there were just, anybody that took a phone that in Israel. I don't know if it was this way in America, but anybody, and if there was a person just took a picture of your house, like, people were
Yeah.
running around saying, okay, they're trying to do another massacre, right? Because we didn't know where they
Right.
were going to be,
Right.
etc. So there's
Mhm.
a lot of that fear in the air. So
Yeah.
what was going on your side?
So, um, I like I said, I'm a teacher. So we work, I work in obviously in a private Jewish school, and I work with little kids, a
Yeah.
kindergarten teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
we always have security drills, and we always have, all these things, and yeah, we know we're a target because you're a
We're
Jew, and
Jews.
Jews are
Yeah.
targets around the world and in
Right.
Israel even, but it made it all so, we have a security guard who's armed, but it made it it's like an uneasy feeling. Listen, I'll be honest. We live in Long Island. Long Island is it's not a very it's not the city. It's not Manhattan. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
Manhattan. Even in Brooklyn, I've seen, pro-Palestinian protest. There's no such thing here.
Yeah.
Here you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that, and we haven't come across it here at all. And we have posters of the kidnapped all over the place. We have it everywhere. Our schools put it up on the outside walls of our schools. No one touches it. No one,
Right.
it's not what's going on in New York City. It's not what's going on in a lot of places in New York. Um, yeah. Is there fear? Yeah.
I mean, at the beginning,
Not.
you're about to say something about the fact that you have security and that the first what
Yeah,
happened in
in
the
the
beginning.
beginning, you didn't know what to expect because you
Right.
don't, there are copycats, and there are people that think, oh, that happened, that was able to happen. They were able to do that. Could we do something like that? But that's always a
Sure.
thought in the back of our mind. Like it's always something that we think about. But
For sure.
but now I don't
Right.
know.
So yeah.
It's
So
hard.
like now, I mean, like I can tell you what my feeling is now. Right. Is
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
so? I'll actually start from today. Right. So
Yeah.
today I see on Twitter
Yeah.
that like the latest craze on TikTok is a bunch of teenagers getting really excited about the visionary whose name is Osama bin Laden. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Osama bin Laden in 2002 wrote this short manifesto talking about basically summarizing every possible anti-Western and anti-Semitic like trope. Wrote it
Mm-hmm.
in one document. This was
Mm-hmm.
something he wrote in 2002. Tried to explain why it was okay for him to drive several planes into the World Trade Center and into the Pentagon, and
Mm-hmm.
probably also try to attack the White House. And that
Right.
was also supposed to make it okay because he wrote 2 pages. And
Right.
today, a bunch of teenagers around the Western countries because of TikTok are like, "Oh my God, this guy, he's amazing." Now, there's a part of me, of course, that like by now, considering everything that in a normal day, I would be horrified,
Mm-hmm.
considering what we've seen in the support of Hamas and like
Yes.
the way etc. etc. It's like, I mean, why should that be surprising? It
Right.
seems to be a direct result of the same exact logic, right? Um, and part of what it feels like to me, and I would be happy to hear what it feels like to you, is that this really is like an inflection point for the West. It's like, okay, so who are we? Who is this thing
Mm-hmm.
called the West? What are these? What is America going to be in 10 years and 15 years, right? It seems to be a
Mm-hmm.
question way beyond like it started from this event here in Israel, but it's brought to the
Mm-hmm.
surface so much junk
Right.
that needs to be discussed and handled. So, what
Mm-hmm.
do you? How do you see that on your side?
So I mean, listen, when I watch on the news, I try to limit certain things because there's a lot of negativity, and
For
I
sure.
realize that I mean, answering back on Instagram and all that stuff, which I do a lot because I just have to, but just have to. Some
Somebody's got to do
people,
it.
these people are just so ignorant. It's just it's mind blowing. But
By the way,
when you
by now, the
yeah.
most ignorant thing that I've seen, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and this has been a very big competition, of course, but the most ignorant thing that I've seen was I
Mm-hmm.
saw 2 girls protesting, of course, in support of Hamas, whatever. I think it was like about, I don't know, a week ago. Okay, so we're talking just over a month since it happened,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the reporter or interviewer asked them, So, what did you think about when Hamas? What were you thinking when Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th? You know, and like attacked all their civilians, and they were like, "What?
What?
What are you talking about?" And they're like, October 7th, they attacked Israel. Like, I don't think that they did that. And you're like,
What?
they didn't know that it happened a month ago that went through the
Right,
world, and they didn't even know that it happened. It wasn't that they
right,
said no, it was like a conspiracy. No, they didn't
right,
know that it happened.
right. That's because now it's basically it has become trendy. It's a trend. It's a trend now.
Yeah,
Free Palestine, and all of a sudden Hamas is jumping into this situation. They have no idea. Listen, I saw somebody on Instagram, a transgender. It's a woman that is a transgender, is now a man,
hmm
and she's shouting all day, free Palestine, it's genocide, yada yada. She doesn't, they don't understand that it's to me, the truth is I kind of laugh these people make me laugh at this point. They really don't know. It's like really following something blindly without knowing anything about it. But
hmm
they wouldn't even bring her into Gaza. They would kill her before that. To them, it's like any LGBTQ, anyone from the LGBTQ community, okay, which is funny to me when they hold up the LGBTQ flag, free
in
Palestine.
support of
You
right,
know,
right.
it's absurd to me. But that you see a lot of that, you know, the
Yeah,
way it is. I mean, they just their little their what happened in a few days ago when they were desecrated, like they not national monuments were being
yeah.
destroyed. Put a kafia on like on one of the the fathers of this I'm just saying the whole thing is like it's insane. They let it happen. It's happening. I don't think they know what to do with it, because of all the different free speech, yeah, all of that. Um, but come on, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's the government and that's why it's so lenient. I'm not sure. I'm
hmm
not, I'm not sure why.
I
But the
mean, we're in
fact,
an election year, right? So election years are
yeah,
create
yeah,
complexities, right? There's
uh-huh,
a lot
right,
of short-term thinking, let's say.
yes. New York City ripping down an American flag and putting a Palestinian flag instead. That
Yeah,
is insane. I mean, the fact that it was. I mean, NYPD posted a whole thing afterwards. Looking for this person. They ended up, I think, arresting the kid, but he was a kid, so he's a minor. So then
right.
what?
hmm
Listen, it's the world is crazy. I'll put it to you this way: it's so crazy that we did something that we never thought we were going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can definitely protect ourselves.
Okay then.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like
yeah,
that was actually something I heard that a lot of Jews
a
are
lot.
going ahead and getting ready to finally take use of that thing called the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and the truth is, right, and the thing is like this. Right, David went to the this is Long Island. So Long Island, I'll just give a little. I'll just explain a little bit. We're not New York City. We're New York State.
Okay. Okay.
The laws in Long Island are different than
Uh-huh.
New York City's. New York City is different. It's harder to get web.
License. Yeah.
Yes. Um and in New York State it's different, because we're Long Islanders, we're, we're crazy. No,
Right.
it's Nassau County is just known. It's a lot easier. But so we went, and while David was there, he saw one of our neighbors and a bunch of other from people, like religious Jews, that were there.
Yeah.
And then the big talk in shul is, so did you get your license already? Did you get your? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. David came home from shul. He came home from shul and he said, you're not gonna believe it. Like this and this, so and so got a license. So this guy, like, this one's getting a license. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So wait. So are all the did you or any of your like family or maybe our extended family did they go to the Washington D.C. Like rally?
So our schools went. I didn't go because I teach. Javi teaches.
Right.
But our whole basically from in our school, which is a girls' school, it's they went. I think they went from eighth to 12th grade, and then
Mm-hmm.
Ezra's school, they went from 7th to 12th grade. Ezra's in 5th.
I
So
see.
so they took the older kids. Our shuls all went. Shuls here had buses. Ezra's school alone had 20 buses, 20 coach buses. Ariella school also had 10, 15 buses. Also, shuls here, community centers here. I know whole communities, thousands of people coming from one community, let's say, flying in. Communities flew in for this. Schools came in for this. It was close to 300,000 people. That was
Yeah, for sure.
pretty impressive.
That's a huge amount of people.
That was a
The
lot.
do you sense that, like, so I'm sure that there was a lot of, like, fundraising, etc.,
Yeah.
leading up. But now that a lot of this also has moved, like, in some sense, right? Israel is dealing with a difficult military situation, but it's we're winning, right? Like, in the strict military sense, we're winning. We still have to find the
Yeah.
hostages. We
Right.
still have to see that we can see this through, and that we don't get pressure to stop in the middle, etc.
Mm-hmm.
All that is true, but it seems that, at least in that sense, we're winning. At the same time, I feel like the real battle for the soul of the world, and specifically in all the Western countries, is just beginning. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you sense, like, around yourself, like, some direction that the Jewish community wants to take moving forward? Are you guys going to be? Are there going to be more, let's say, vigils, or are there going to be, I don't know, lawsuits against the universities that weren't protecting the students, or,
That's
like, I don't
another
know,
right.
I don't know what's going on there.
Right. That's another huge thing is the universities. These very, intelligent, supposedly intelligent, these are Ivy League universities. These are not,
Mm-hmm.
a city college or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is like, this is the next
Right,
level.
the creme
Uh,
de la creme.
oh yeah. Well, apparently not. But, I would not want to be a Jewish student in one of these places. I would
Right.
not, you think about yourself when you were there, what, 20 years ago almost.
Yeah. Right. Right.
That's
Right.
but like, yeah, when you were there, like, what, 10, 15, when was this? 15 years
No, no,
ago?
no.
Yeah,
Was about was in 2007 to
right,
2012. So yeah.
right. Yeah. So when
Hmm.
you were there, imagine.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like that. I was in Amherst. Amherst is a relatively
Right.
left leaning university in
Hmm.
general,
Hmm.
but for sure, no, I don't want to imagine what that
Right.
would have been like.
Yes. And first of all, and another, you asked about vigils and stuff. There's stuff going on all the time. All the time. You have to understand that at any given moment, if you would go to JFK, the airport in New
Right.
York,
Yeah.
JFK, you see mountains and the mountains of black duffel bags filled with mountains, 40 duffel bags stacked up,
At
one on top of the other.
wow, the first week or two,
Mountains.
I remember seeing pictures. It's still going on.
It is insane. People
Wow.
are collecting tons and tons of money and supplies. You would go into, we have all these stores like Dick's Sporting Goods and even stores like Target and Walmart. All those stores. Usually, you walk in there. There are certain aisles that are just empty all the time. You see
Wow.
religious Jews walking around with wagons filled to the top with socks and underwear and undershirts and toothpaste and toothbrushes and deodorant and this and that and that and headlamps and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
gloves and thermals
Wow.
and all these random people that don't know each other
Right.
are all doing the same thing. All doing the same thing. I have a friend that's flying in a couple of days. She's going for Thanksgiving because some of her kids live in Israel. She's going to see them and to just help them out. But she's meeting the people there in the airport and
Yeah.
basically taking the luggage. Basically, you take it and you leave it in Ben Gurion, and whoever needs it, whoever needs it, whatever units, and they come because people buy it for, whoever needs, and they come and they pick it up from there, and basically you don't pay for anything, you just take it with you, but people volunteer. This is like they feel like they're doing something, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so they want to take this stuff. They want to take stuff, and they want to buy stuff, and they want to collect things, and they want to. I'll give you an example. I mean,
Yeah.
my one of my brothers who's an officer in Golani, and he's stationed up north, and
Right.
he I was on the phone with him yesterday, actually, because they have a couple of days of resting days, so I asked him,
R&R.
is everything, yes, I said, do you need anything, is everything, do you guys need anything? And he goes, actually, why are you asking? I said, because people collect. He goes, really? And I said, yes. And he goes, well, what do you need? And then he told me, well, it would be great to have tactical gloves and thermals, pants and shirts, like for my unit, because some of the guys need this stuff.
Right. Right.
Why don't
Right.
you send me a list with links? And he did.
Yeah.
And then I called my brother-in-law, who's in touch with a lot of, people that love to do this, and this is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And people that have a lot of money, very wealthy people, and they want to do this. And he already put it, he sent the list to his rabbi, who made sure to send it to all the people, and we're going to see what they come up with. They want to do this.
Yeah.
They
Look,
feel
I can
like
tell you
they're
that
helping.
every
Yeah.
day or every other day, like there's like I'm on Telegram. I have a few people that I like, get like the
Mm-hmm.
reporters that push out things. So one of them is a Segad, and a Segad pushes out every so often. They'll say like, here's a link to like there's a family that lost its everything that they had. They need some
Right.
money, whatever. Usually within like 3-4 hours, it's done.
It's done.
Like we're talking about, like yesterday, you started off something like for one of the families that were killed actually in Judea and Samaria, and like there was like a pigua there. So they said they need like let's say 500,000 shekel to help the family get back on their feet within a few hours, done. And like the
Right.
amount of things, it's a bunch of small donations like what I could give, and it's a bunch of people that are like giving huge amounts of money.
Right.
The awakening of like the Jewish identity element,
Mm-hmm.
is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's too bad we need to wait for these kinds of things to happen to wake that up, but it's
Yes.
quite amazing.
There's tremendous achdut. Um, my brother Elad was telling me that, because he asked me, he said, tell me, your schools also write letters to soldiers? And I said, yes, we did. Ezra's my youngest son, his school also wrote a lot, and they send it with people to go.
Yeah.
I said, I have one in my pocket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually got.
No, but he said, wow, you have no idea how it lifts everybody to get a little card that says, in bold letters, because it's coming from like the little kids. Dear soldier, win the war. Be safe. We love you. It's so cute. He says,
we
yeah.
Yeah, we're at the beginning of the first week, so
Yeah.
we baked, like my kids baked cookies,
Right.
and like we wrote like a note, and we wrote like the name of the family and their
Right.
and like a phone number. So then we got like a video from the soldiers saying "Mishpachat Rosenzweig achla ugiot," Rosenzweig's great cookies.
Right.
Thank you so much for them. That I think it's such an amazing spirit that like
Yeah.
that came out over here is like the it I mean, like, unfortunately,
And
of course, every event needs to be investigated in its own right. But in
yeah.
general, in Israel, we're not really good at planning ahead, but we're pretty good at dealing with crises when they come, right?
Right. Right.
So that again, like revealed itself very, very strongly. The I mean, the truth is, it's quite amazing the strength of the civil society, not the government, not the bureaucracy, but the
Mm-mm.
civil society in Israel. The Jews
Right.
is crazy,
Right.
crazy, amazing stuff that we can do here. Really, really. I mean, so heartwarming to see it.
Right.
Um, Gilad, one more question for me, and then if there's anything
Yeah.
else you want to share, you can of course share. Um, so, a natural thing that I'm curious to hear about is like um, in the wake of everything that's happening in Israel and abroad, do you sense that people, like if I were in America now, I'm guessing I would be feeling two very strong emotions, right? One emotion would be, oh, Israel is under attack and this is where to be, and I would be thinking of moving to Israel. And on the other hand, I'd feel like all the Jews in America are under attack because look what's happening here with tearing down the posters and the anti-Semitic rallies and all that stuff. And we need to make sure to strengthen our presence and our message here, right? So like under those two conditions,
Mhm.
like what is the sense you get about like the people around you or people thinking about. I mean, I'm not trying to ask you about you specifically. I'm saying in general about leaving, about on the contrary, about like maybe having bigger congregations or like I don't know what is your sense?
Right. So I have a very good friend of mine who works with me, and they opened up an Aliyah file
Hmm.
last week,
Wow.
and yeah, um, and she said, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. And she's not Israeli, she grew up here.
Yeah.
Um, and and my attitude is always, so listen, we have our life here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm by the way, I didn't mean this like to ask you about you. It's a very personal thing, and it's
that we think about a lot, and it's something you go back and forth with it. That's the thing. It's a very tricky, like, yeah, these feelings and thoughts are very, very powerful because you sit here and you're thinking, okay, what's happening? Okay, what's happening in Israel? It's crazy. You feel you have a very strong urge to go, and you have a strong urge to just be there. Lema,
yeah,
I'm not sure, but
right.
like the sense of like you just there.
I know what you mean. I mean, for me, the fact that I'm not in the army is the same thing. I feel like I
Right,
should be in the army right now. Why am I not in the?
right, right. So it's almost the same kind of situation in a way because you feel like you need to be there. And right now, Libi Mizrach is like at the top. Okay, meaning
Right,
I be there, but I'm not here in the West.
right. Yeah,
Um, and and um, and the thing is that because of the situation, also the community is very, very united. Our communities are usually very united. It's not like, I mean, you have a sense of community. You have a shul. You have a synagogue that you're a part of, and it's a family feel.
right, right.
You have people that understand more, and you have people that are a little less connected. That's usually the case when it comes to things when it has to do with Israel. In this specific case, I think it kind of affected everyone also because it's an ongoing thing. It's horrific. Things are out. You know what
Right.
happened, and even if you don't know 100% what happened, which I'd rather not, certain things I'd rather not know 100%, but you know that it's bad, 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 and it's people are united.
Yeah.
Listen, someone translated the kidnap posters into Yiddish, and instead of like writing this whole thing on the bottom, they put a parak of Tehillim. Okay,
Hmm.
so, and you see people, Hasidish, like very, very Hasidish people in Bar Park, standing, stopping, reading, saying Tehillim, taking pictures, just
Wow, I didn't
crying
know that.
in front of it. So you see these things, you see these kind of things, every single wedding, including our own, which happened 10 days after
Right.
the 7th. It was very, very hard, but we had to, we had to put it a little bit aside to just to be happy with Javi and Ellie, with
Right.
with our
Of
daughter, and
course.
we had to be happy, and but we made sure under the chuppah we said a mishaberach, meaning the guy, the guy that was singing, he sang a beautiful mishaberach. It was really, there wasn't a dry eye. Okay, it was and a parak
Yeah.
of Tehillim, and afterwards people were telling me this is what I needed. We needed to go to a simcha. We needed to be at a wedding. We need,
Yeah.
and your amount you made us feel like we're connected to what's going on. You made us feel, we are thinking about our brothers and sisters in Israel. But we have to be, we had to have something happy to look forward to and to go to,
Yeah, there has to be,
and
like,
it
I know what you
is.
mean. There has to be a sense of life, right? Like you're surrounded by all this
Yeah.
sense of death. I think in
Yes.
Israel, the main place, I think in Israel, on a more national
Mm,
sense, the real, I felt personally that the cloud was lifted on an emotional
yeah.
level. I'm like, there was, of course, everything is a gradual thing, right? But I thought the cloud was lifted when there was one of the kidnappees that was saved by the army, right? So one, which was like, was actually rescued in an army operation. That I felt was like a very critical point in the national mood. Okay, it was like the
Yes.
first time that we had shown to ourselves that we could actually roll back some of this with our own
Yeah.
without giving in to Hamas.
Right.
And I know what you mean. We needed to feel that there was, like,
Yes.
a life to
Yeah.
live tomorrow, and not that it's all just death.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. You need to feel uplifted a little bit, and it's, yeah. When that happened, that was. But you saw that's, again, you see the achdut in Israel, especially. I mean, things that I saw and the people that were celebrating, but like people that you would never even, you know what I mean, like the very, very, very ultra orthodox people dancing in the street. Again, this is something that's, to me, I cried just watching that. That to me was like the ultimate.
yeah,
That
yeah,
it's sad that
for sure.
such tragedies bring the unite us, but it's whatever. It's at least
Yeah,
something good came out.
for sure.
Yeah.
Nachon, nachon, nachon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to stop here with the official interview. We can talk a bit more after we stop the recording.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I just wanted to tell you, first of all, thank you for sharing, and
Of
stay
course.
safe. And if more things evolve on your side, we can do another session like this.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah. So I'm going to stop the recording, but we can talk a bit more after. For now, Gilat, thank you very
Okay.
much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day, night for me. Bye.
Bye.
1 second.